Earlier in tonight's program, the Environment Minister explained why the government is pushing to eliminate coal. It still accounts for 10% of the energy generated in Canada. One clean alternative that may surpass it one day is solar. It only generates half of 1% of electricity generation in this country, but it's grown more than 2,000% in the last decade. One of the perceived downsides of solar energy is the huge upfront cost. But as Aaron Collins tells us, Alberta is making sure people who make the switch still have a rainy day fund.
Under a big blue prairie sky, change is afoot. These are the finishing touches on a seismic shift for the LaPointe family. 20 shiny new solar panels that will provide all the electricity for their home.
First on the block, I've had a few neighbors walking by saying, what are you doing? And there's some interest there, and somebody else made a call and is now getting an assessment done, but we're the first so far.
Now, it's the cost of these panels that often scares people off. This renewable reno wasn't cheap, coming in at about $17,000. But with a provincial rebate in place, once it's connected, this system should pay for itself in about a dozen years.
Are you seeing the cost of this solar technology come down?
Yeah, in the last 10 years, it has dropped significantly. Yeah, probably almost close to half, I would say. Yeah, we did an install this year for a guy that put an install in about 10 years ago, and the cost difference was night and day for him.
And panels are springing up all over Alberta. On top of the city's science centre, an almost complete solar array. And no surprise, price is driving solar's popularity.
So with costs going down and the potential for more investment being made, both by the province and potentially even by the private sector, I can really see this starting to pick up.
Well, the province is committed to doing away with coal-fired electricity in just over a decade, replacing it in part with a big increase in renewable energy, a promise that has Alberta's solar industry banking on a boom.
Alberta is the new leader in Canada in terms of solar. A lot of attention has been put on Ontario, but right now, since we have a better resource, I think Alberta is the next star.
Well, back in Calgary, the LaPointe family is part of that shift in how the province is powered. But for Paul LaPointe, the stakes are much higher.
Our planet's in some trouble, and this is our way to try to hopefully someday look at my kids in the eye and say, I did everything I could.
But to really make a difference, the LaPointe's neighbors will have to buy in as well. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
And it may surprise you to learn the biggest country for solar generation is also the biggest polluter. By the end of this year, China could have more than 100 gigawatts of solar capacity, far surpassing Japan and Germany. Canada doesn't even crack the top 10.